to what? So it seems to be working.
Yeah, we're getting the sound.
Yeah, it's working. It's working on.
Yeah, we
YouTube.
can hear it on the. I can see you on YouTube.
You'll need to turn.
I can hear it on the. I can see you on YouTube.
You'll need to turn.
And
Just yeah, there you go.
okay. Oh, Joe, try again. Hello.
Hello. Just get the technology.
That was the live.
So can you hear me now, Joe? I mean, we've got the Wi-Fi box 2 inches away from the laptop, so it couldn't be any closer. So.
Oh. Do we have to sign in to chat?
Andy, you're quietly spoken.
I believe so. Yes, I'm quite muffled. Naturally, yeah. So
yeah, to get back here, you need a little bit.
Yeah, I'll remember and project.
So that's Tracy just saying she's going to join through the meeting link. So I guess what I need to know is if everybody has to sign in, if we need to give them those instructions.
Oh.
You see what I mean?
Oh, right. So it's not just a link that takes you in.
It does, but
do you then need to sign in?
Well, I've not had to before. Plus, you'll automatically start. The chair will start the meeting at 7. Please use the chat function if you wish to ask a question or make a comment. And I'm not hiding the chat, but if I want to.
Laurie has resigned. He's not going to be sitting at home.
I checked with Les and said, are we mentioning it tonight? He said yes.
Yeah, has he resigned as a director as well?
Yes, he's resigned. Yes.
As a chair and as a director,
yes,
ACT.
due to ill health.
Yes.
And that's exactly as you,
Yeah, but that.
See. Just bringing the other one as well, so get that one right behind you. Need to pull this forward so you can see they went.
Yeah.
All right. Are you waiting here? Oh no. Just going to move the camera.
Yes, probably should be a bit
further, Andy. A bit further.
Yeah. Isn't it? Thank you.
To restrict entry to 20.
Yeah.
Out. I've done it. Oh, that's up at the street. So I've made friends with some people.
So we could give the votes.
Put them straight
Yeah.
in. Put them straight in instead of having another document.
Yeah. But we should
Yes.
call out the
We
fact
should
that we had
definitely
69,
note them,
1
definitely.
against and 5 abstentions.
Yes. And the results were, maybe not results.
Yeah, the votes were in the Icelandic jury. You're okay with those changes to the accountancy firm appointment?
I'm what?
You're okay with those changes that we made with the accountancy
Yes.
firm?
Yes.
And
Yes. I was quite happy with all of it.
Right. The only
On the email about how he's worded it.
everything okay? You're fine. Yeah.
What do I do about the chat, Joe? Okay. Okay.
Plus, we can just take a picture of each of those. Okay, and put it on this page.
Well, we've got them as documents. I've got them on PowerPoint.
Right, but
So we
people.
Sign in as you then? Can I sign in as you?
Does that mean?
How do I sign in though as you? Do I sign in as you with your email or Do I use? No. Oh, I do, but I don't have anything here. Okay.
So, Joe, does that mean that members of the public can't place a comment unless they have also signed in? So that will definitely reduce the number of people that place a comment.
So when you check and review and you've got to have an account. Do you want to say I'm taking you off the phone, yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, someone needs to tell me when we've gone live.
See it here. So I'll tell you. You're live.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the AGM of the Peebles Community Trust. A warm welcome for those who have joined us in the Burgh Hall, and an equally warm welcome for those who are using technology and joining us by the live YouTube stream. For those in the Burgh Hall, fire exits are at the back of the hall and to your left, my right, and toilets are out the door and to the right. My name is Andrew Wright, and I'm one of the directors of the PCT. Unfortunately, Laurie Hayworth has had to step back from his role as PCT chair several months ago due to ill health. And yesterday, Laurie also tendered his resignation as chair of the PCT. On behalf of the PCT board, I'm sure the board and all PCT members would like to thank Laurie for his considerable input and energy that he devoted to PCT over recent years, and we wish him well for the future. The board will in the coming weeks therefore look to appoint a new chair. In the meantime, I've been asked by the directors to lead the AGM this evening. PCT project manager who will assist with any questions and also share any questions that may come through on the live chat. I think also for people to make a question on or comment on live chat, you need to have a Google account, and if you haven't, then you can also email admin@peeblescommunity.org. So for people at home or not in the hall, admin@peeblescommunity.org if you want to comment or you want to leave a question. So the agenda was issued in advance. There are 4 votes that were taken in advance, and I'll just go through those just now. I'm pleased to say that the quorum was reached for the voting. So the first vote was approval for the minutes of the AGM of 2020. I should say just before that there were 3 or 4 very minor amendments that were emailed through, but they were mostly typing and grammatical errors. There's nothing of substance, nothing that would affect the vote. So in terms of approval of the minutes, 69 votes for, 1 against and 5 abstentions, so that's carried. Item 2 was the approval of PCT accounts for 2020. Votes for, 64. Votes against, 0. Abstentions, 10. So that's carried. Vote 3, approval to appointment of Hogg and Thorburn as accountants and auditors going forward. Votes for, 72. Against, 0. And abstentions, 3. And finally, approval to keep membership fee at 0. Votes for, 68. Against, 3. And abstentions, 4. So with that in mind, I will then move on to a chairperson's report. So in terms of finances of PCT, following on from last year's accounts, PCT has been very successful in attracting significant levels of funding for various projects, allowing us to support greater activity and provide greater community capacity. And we'll come on to talk about some of those in the subsequent minutes. In the subsequent part of the meeting. September 2021, so the end of the financial year and our first for charitable reporting purposes. Our increased income has pushed us over, in a positive sense, over the 500,000 income level for charitable accounts, which require the services of an accountancy firm that can also provide the necessary audit services. We're very grateful to Charles Gray Accountants for their support over many years and record in the minutes our thanks for their services. After a due selection process, we have identified Hogg and Thorburn as our new accountant and auditor subject to formal ratification at the AGM, which has been provided, so thank you. What we're to do take PCT and its objectives and its purpose, particularly useful for new members and people who recently come to know about the PCT. So there are three main elements. PCT coordinates and provides a focal point for the strategic direction of community action and development in Peebles and the surrounding districts, and we'll hear some more of that. PCT leads and has taken forward or actively supports a number of key projects and initiatives in the area. For example, School Bray Hub, East Shields Community Wood, Eddleston Water Path and the wider Links Path project, Peebles Railway Heritage Project, Owning Our Future, March Street Mill, and we also supported a pilot to open the public toilets. Again, more on that in a minute. Importantly, the PCT also provides what it calls an umbrella service to support community groups. So it provides ongoing and expanded support and outreach for community organisations in Peebles and surrounding districts. And this support takes various different forms, and it does depend on what the groups in question require us to do. So, for example, it can take business advice or funding applications where we support or co-funder, administration assistance, or handling funds or banking services. So there's a variety of things that PCT can offer. And we offer those to Cycling Without Age, Peebles Share Paths Group, Peebles Salmon Anglers Club, Bonnie Peebles Plus, Bonnie Peebles, The Glebe, Keep Peebles Clean, which is new this year, and also the Biodiversity Ecology Group, again, new this year. And what we'd like to do is come on just to talk a little bit about some of those groups and showcase what they've been doing for the area, and where relevant, we'll mention how PCT has been supporting them. But we think it's a great, this AGM is a great opportunity to showcase other groups in the town. In terms of toilets, very topical, PCT took the lead in trying to ensure the ongoing provision of the School Bray public toilets for the community. We did our best and took over the temporary operation of these facilities to see if they could be made to work in an economically viable way with entry fees. This did come at considerable cost to PCT in terms of operating cost and also the management overhead and supervision. Unfortunately, as you know, despite our best efforts, this proved not to be possible, and with regret, we had no other option other than to hand them back to Scottish Borders Council. School Bray Hub. PCT board is currently working to develop a long-term vision and strategy for the School Bray Hub. It's a building in need of considerable investment, and whilst we have started to fix the basics, such as the roof, there is much work still to be done. To support the strategy development, we've engaged external partners to help design and develop design and configuration options for School Bray Hub, evolving it potentially into a multi-use building, which could potentially address many uses and applications which could serve our community better. A key element of this work is looking at future income options, as well as external funding options to support the development work. Clearly, COVID has disrupted this work and some of the initial thinking. In the short term, however, we are gradually starting to open up discrete parts of the building, e.g. the part of the lower floor which supports the men's shed is beginning to open up, as are some new meeting spaces which are available for booking. Please speak to Alex if you're interested. An element that's also part of the hub building just now is the reuse hub. So this has been an accidental positive outcome from COVID and continues to support the town to access items which are of use at a fraction of their cost. And also, importantly, from an environmental point of view, offers an alternative to landfill. It has been incredibly successful. I'd like to pay tribute to the work that Alex has been doing to really push that forward with a huge enthusiasm. It's raised so far revenues of about £50,000, £50,000 since its inception in the middle of 2020. And incredibly well by the 24 volunteers who run it 3 days a week from School Bray Hub. Funds raised are contributing to the refurbishment of the hub building, and we've raised another £40,000 match funding to insulate the roof. So it's a real success story. Just comment on March Street Mill. So PCT has been the lead organisation which to date has fronted the community interest in this site. And in doing so, we've secured the community right to buy option, which we believe will be finally confirmed once the last minute appeals by the existing owners are concluded in the courts, which we expect now. The latest update from the court is that will be early 2022. A group led by Greg Carlton is currently exploring a range of options for future use of this site, development possibilities, as well as funding requirements, risk assessments, as well as the project management resource necessary to successfully deliver what would be a very major infrastructure project for the town. The Town Action Plan 2022 has offered time and an opportunity to reflect on priorities going forward. This plan is focused on identifying the things that matter to residents and to those who use the town and access services in the town. So we revisited the original 2016 plan, updating it to take into account local development, health, welfare, environmental footprint, jobs and economy issues. An open forum was held on 6th of November. I think over 70 people came, participated, shared their views and expressed their opinions. So thank you if you did. This input also provides a voice to direct the development of the Peebles Local Place Plan. Owning Our Future project saw the development of the ideas map of Peebles. The ideas map of Peebles was developed as an output from the Owning Our Future project of Community Land Scotland and is intended as a stimulus to help the debate on the future look of a future Peebles. It's been developed from the input of families and individuals, particularly young people, on what changes they would like to see in Peebles. And to take this forward, we were provided with the services of a creative practitioner who used graphics to bring this to life. I'd like to now give some update on some projects and some of the local groups that we've been supporting. So successful grant incomes have supported the following projects. Eddleston Water Path. So the construction has begun and is estimated this will be ready next spring. This exciting project demonstrates successful partnership working in practice with various bodies, not just PCT, but also Tweed Forum, Scottish Borders Council, South of Scotland Enterprise and Sustrans, who are all supporting the wider Links Path project, which is looking at travel methods in and around Peebles and the infrastructure changes required to support better walking and wheeling. The Links Path, this project was expanded to take a wider, more holistic scope after the original community consultations to support active travel. Exhibition drawings from the community forum, which were held on the 6th of November, are also available to view at the School Bray Hub every Thursday and Saturday, 10 to 1 until December 18. And we also have them in the hall here for those that are attending us in person. So after the meeting, they're available to look at. We'll comment a bit on East Shields Community Woodland. There's a lot to update on that, so I'll just stick to some of the key points. We can, as with all these updates, we will put these on the website. We're in the process of updating PCT website, and all of these updates from projects and the groups that we're supporting and helping and facilitating will be added, so you can read those at your leisure. But in terms of the community woodland, so management of trees, obviously in the wood, a lot of management of the wood for its biodiversity, and that's been a very active focus of the group. The group wants to express its thanks to its sister community woodland in Ledburn for a donation of £1,000, which were part of their proceeds of their annual sale of Christmas trees. Given the timber market prices at present, which are extremely strong, once the East Shields Community Woodland are able to sell wood, they will do so from a profitability point of view, and this in turn will help them regenerate the woodland as per the management plan that they have. It might be of interest to notice that the PCT and East Shields have been used as a case study for a PhD project based in Zurich and also the University of Edinburgh. And the group specifically wants to thank PCT Office Alex and Emma, for giving them a platform for their activities, as well as their volunteer management group. Railway Heritage Project, one of the most active Facebook groups, I think, in Peebles. Over the course of the year, this group has made slow but really steady progress towards the refurbishment of the old railway building. They've appointed Paul Jardine as their National Lottery Heritage Fund expert, and he continues to oversee the efforts to secure suitable funding to advance the development and the cause of this group. Unfortunately, again, like many things, COVID's interrupted the progress there, but they're hopeful of some good news soon. So I would take that as watch this space. Funding was raised through a community grant scheme and also a Just Giving crowdsourcing campaign to allow them to employ Paul, and this will be available for other work on the building if there's a surplus at the end. Local trades continue to support and assist in keeping that building wind and watertight, in particular John Shadler for joinery and David Tate for roofing matters. So we'll turn now to an update on some of the projects that operate under the umbrella framework for PCT, which I referred to earlier. Keep Peebles Clean. So they have over 50 volunteers that have been working since March 2021 to keep the town clean. This group has collected approximately 0.5 ton of rubbish from streets, parks, verges of Peebles in that time. It was an incredible achievement. We should be very grateful for them in doing that. They're working closely with Scottish Borders Council and cooperating with other groups, including the Callants Club, People's Churches Together, Great Borders River Clean, and others. Volunteers work at their own pace and at their own time, reporting back using a Google form. And before summer, they engaged with local schools and received a number of poster designs on the theme Keep Peebles Clean from Peoples at Kingsland. And these are all on their Facebook page if you want to look at them. The hope that we can also use those posters around town on bins, bus stops, shop windows, and so on. The group is currently looking for assistance with their administration efforts. So if anyone is interested, please reach out to them directly or speak to PCT or email the office and we'll put you in touch. Peeblesshire Paths Group. The Paths Group maintains the Tweed Valley rail path between Peebles and Cardrona. This group came under the PCT umbrella in 2019 when Sustrans stopped supporting vegetation management on land that they didn't own. So we stepped in to provide a solution. There are about 20 members and about 10 to 12 of them take part in the active work sessions. For those interested, they're scheduled on the first Thursday and the third Sunday of each month, weather dependent. In 2020, during March and November, they registered just over 100 volunteer hours, 101 to be precise. Due to COVID, they didn't meet again until April this year. Since then, they've already registered 86 volunteer hours. And over last winter, they supervised 2 Duke of Edinburgh students from the high school who were doing community service. When they first became an active group, they had a grant from Sustrans, and as well as being allowed to retain the tools that they'd received, they also received some sponsorship as well. They've also subsequently had sponsorship from the People's Cycle Club, Tweeddale Garden Machinery, Cycle Law Scotland, and CCA Signs. And the coming year, their priorities are to raise and recruit more volunteers. That's their biggest issue just now, and also raise more sponsorship for consumable costs and refreshing their inventory of tools. They also want to extend their activities to the new path from Peebles to Edelston, and also support and encourage more Duke of Edinburgh Award students and continue to liaise with the high school regarding other opportunities for work parties. Cycling Without Age. Cycling Without Age Peebles has been under the umbrella for PCT for a year and a half. This partnership gives them much wider access to the people of Peebles through the PCT database and also our links with other community groups. We also provide office facilities and funding sources and banking services. They provide, if you've not seen them around the town, they provide bike rides for any senior adult in Peebles who would not otherwise be able to access cycling due to age. They've managed to retain 7 pilots, so they're not cyclists, they're pilots, 7 pilots who were with us before COVID, and they're currently training 7 new pilots. And they hope to expand this service in the spring once everyone's trained up. and they continue to fundraise for a second bike, which would obviously increase capacity and allow more opportunities to take people out. I think this would be wheelchair users for the second bike. Bonnie Peebles Plus has gone from strength to strength since it was formed in 2019. In the last year, obviously, the pandemic created some difficulties that the volunteers were able to overcome by classing the planting and maintenance of their flower beds as their daily exercise. How enterprising. So the results in 2020 were wonderful, with many messages of support and appreciation received around the town. This year, as the conditions eased, the volunteers were out again, ensuring plenty of colour around the town. Spring bulbs have just been planted for next year, and they should be lovely. They do rely on fundraising to function. Fortunately, businesses and individuals around the town are both appreciative and generous, and the planting regime, at least for next year, is assured. Again, we support this group with banking services and the like. Bonnie Peebles this year has planted and maintained the War Memorial, the Edinburgh Road train beds, the Edinburgh Road rose bushes, rose beds, Northgate Garden, the swimming pool, Haylodge Park, the Gunshed Gardens, School Bray, Forest View, and the Scott Brash sculpture. This year, they've also painted 5 of our 10 seats around the town, treated the wood around the Scott Brash sculpture, and planted 900 daffodil bulbs behind the sculpture, 400 which were kindly donated by Jameson Brothers in Annan. Bonnie Peebles' 23 volunteers plant 4,000 summer bedding plants within a 2-day period. They've also planted for winter 330 tulip bulbs, just over 3,000 polyanthus, and replaced 35 shrubs. They've got 26 volunteers who work hard to plant, maintain, weed, cut back shrubs, cut and edge the grass, and generally keep Bonnie Peebles areas looking well maintained. The group has to raise its own funds, which it does through a combination of coffee mornings, quiz nights, and public donations. And of course, coffee mornings and quiz nights have been somewhat difficult, nay impossible, due to pandemic, but people have still been very generous and they've not forgotten Bonnie Peebles. And this year, with the help of PCT, they also secured £1,000 from Tesco's community funding. The Biodiversity and Ecology Group, this is a newly formed group which has made really good progress since its inception this year, with the successful completion of the first phase of its long-term plan to increase the biodiversity across Peebles Golf Course. The initial task of preparing 2,500 square metres of rough area adjacent to the 7th hole, those who know who play golf will know where that is, and planting wildflower meadow seed got off to a slow start, but eventually came good late summer with a stunning show of colour, attracting a mass of bees and other insects. They've got potentially an exciting partnership with Bug Life Scotland. This has taken another step forward with a very positive site visit earlier this year from Bug Life's conservation officer. A number of areas additional to their existing area around the golf course were identified as having good potential for further wildflower meadows, and they expect to hear of news of their own funding bid early next year. They're now well on their way with the second phase of the project, with volunteers working hard, planting around 1,000 bulbs around the golf course, clearing sections of the burn and its banks, ready to plant out 500 primula plants. Again, this should provide early season colour and nectar for bees and insects, as well as providing a wonderful visual display. As well as the insects, they'd like to reassure us they've not forgotten birds and bats, and following a request for help, and this is a good example of the groups working together across boundaries. The members of the Men's Shed generously provided over 40 bird and bat boxes for the ecology group, last of which is just being distributed around the golf course this month. Their long-term aim of this new group is to continue year-on-year planting of bulbs, trees, and other plants, and if funding allows, will create further wildflower meadow areas. They couldn't have achieved this without a hardy band of over 30 volunteers, putting in countless hours, and the funding that they've received from Tweeddale Community Fund, Peebles Community Trust, Action Earth, and a number of donations from Peebles Golf Club members. The final group we just want to highlight and update you on is the Peebles salmon anglers, who continue to operate their applications for licences for local fishermen, and PCT continues to support this group with banking services and the like. Tweed Management have complemented the group on their management of the Crown Water, so I think that's really notable. I'll just turn now to a couple of comments around PCT and the future. So the board of PCT is commencing a fundamental review of the organisation's vision and strategy to ensure it has clarity on its future direction and its participation in future projects and activities. We aim to be a self-sustaining and financially secure organisation, and further work needs to be done by the board to ensure that this is the case. We also recognise the need to have necessary management experience and resources to provide the necessary oversight for PCT and its increasing range of activities. So we're doing some work to look at this strategy. We'll be supported in this by DTAS and other external bodies as necessary. And we'll be considering factors such as the structure of PCT, the tax arrangements, resources, governance, funding, and our role in supporting and delivering community development projects. And we expect to be able to update you further in the first half of 2022. So this concludes the PCT chairperson's update. We will now turn to any comments, questions, or observations either in the room or if we've had any online. Alex, have we had any online? No. Are there any questions or comments or observations in the room?
Just a comment, Chair. Thank you very much. It's nice to see you got through without mentioning Peppa Pig. There's someone high command can't do that.
Yes, I didn't mention Peppa Pig, nor did I make an impersonation of a car. So maybe I'm not cut out for high office, but thank you. Any? No. Okay. Well, thank you for those watching online. Thank you for those who came to what is actually quite a nice warm Burgh Hall. And as I say, after the meeting, there's opportunity to view some of the design ideas that I referred to earlier. So this brings to an end this AGM. I'd like to thank you for attending. The board would like to thank you for your ongoing support and encouragement. And in closing, I'd particularly like to thank Alex Wilson, our projects and funding manager, and also Emma Jones, our administration and finance officer, who together keep us on our toes and ensure that the successful operation day to day of PCT, and frankly, they do all the hard work. So a huge vote of thanks to both of them. So with that, I'll end the AGM and thank you very much for your attendance. Good evening.
You've done the minutes as well.
Got the minutes?
Well done, Andy. That was good.
Is that okay?
The shortest ever meeting.
Some of the best ones often are. I assume that we're.
Speak to Alison. I think Alison could be our treasurer or secretary.
I assume that.
And I know her through from the meeting.
I didn't know it.
I met her the other day and I said, could you come?
Oh, you mentioned it.
Yeah, so this is Alison Muggsy. In view of us very important, there was a suggestion earlier that, and I said, yeah, we don't need to